So, this is a tricky situation. I ran away from my wedding after finding out about the bride's affairs, but now my ex bride, as in my ex fiance, is blaming me, saying it was all staged to check my trust in her. But as I went deeper, I uncovered more stuff. I'll tell you everything. Let's start from the day of my engagement. Hey there, fellow Redditors. I need to get something off my chest. A wedding story that's way more chaotic than trying to untangle earphones. So here's the deal. I was all geared up to say I do to the love of my life, thinking this was going to be the beginning of something beautiful. But hold up. Let's rewind a bit. Before the big day, my fiance started acting kind of distant. I figured it was just wedding stress, playing tricks on her mind. So I brushed it off, hoping things would get back to normal. Now, fast forward to the actual wedding day, and I'm suited up, ready to tie the knot. But then, out of the blue, her maid of honor pulled me aside for a serious chat. She hit me with some heavy truth bombs. Turns out, my fiance's been on a cheating spree, and she's got solid evidence to back it up. I swear it felt like I got hit by a freight train. One moment, I was all smiles, and the next, I was trying to come to terms with this absolute betrayal. How did things go from picture perfect to a soap opera plot twist beyond my understanding? Props to my maid of honor, though. She had been a real rock star throughout this mess. She was like, dude, let's bounce before this wedding turns into a drama fest. And you know what? I couldn't agree more. Ain't nobody got time for that. So I made a quick getaway, bailing out from the ceremony that was supposed to be the highlight of my life. This was not how I imagined my big day unfolding, but life's got its surprises, and boy, did this catch me off guard. My family was furious, and I can't blame them. They were wondering where the heck I disappeared to. But here's the thing. I needed time to process all the chaos that had gone down, so instead of forcing the music right away, I found refuge at a friend's place. Can you blame me for wanting some space to wrap my head around it all? I was upset beyond belief and needed some serious downtime. A week later, I found the courage to explain the whole situation to my family. They were all ears, but man, it was tough pouring my heart out like that. I had to explain how I found out about my fiance's cheating shenanigans and why I had to bail like a magician doing a disappearing act. But even after the explanations, things were still complicated. I mean, my emotions were all over the place. I didn't even feel like heading back home or facing my now ex-fiance. Can you blame me? To make matters worse, my family filled me in on the gossip that was spreading all around. Everyone seems to think that I stood her up at the altar, and that couldn't have been further from the truth. People love to talk, and rumors fly faster than the rocket. I knew I had to clear the air. I asked my family to spread the truth about what went down on my wedding day, but let me tell you, it wasn't an easy task. You see, the damage was already done. Everyone witnessed me not showing up at the altar, and gossip travels faster than a viral meme. Setting the record straight took time, and the waiting game was a test of my patience. Nearly 2 months passed before things started to settle down. The truth began to get into people's minds, and I felt some relief. But let me tell you, those were 2 long months filled with awkward glances and weird advice. Just when I thought things couldn't get any weirder, my ex-fiance decided to swoop back into the picture. Yeah, you heard that right. She dared to reach out to me after all the mess she caused. Her explanation for the whole cheating spree? Well, she claimed it was all a grand test to check my trust in her. Say what now? I was so mad. Like, is this some twisted episode of a reality show? I mean, who in their right mind puts someone they supposedly love through such emotional drama just to play a trust test? But what left me utterly shocked was when her own maid of honor, the one who'd helped me escape from that chaotic wedding, seemed to back up her ridiculous story. At first, I thought maybe they were both just playing some twisted mind game trying to mess with my head. But as time went on, I realized they were dead serious about this trust test nonsense. And you know what? I wasn't about to let this slide. I wasn't going to be gaslighted into believing this. This was not okay. I decided to stand my ground and seek some real answers. I wasn't going to be played like a puppet in their drama, so I confronted them both, not backing down until I got some straight answers. They just kept on saying the same thing. I don't know how to deal with this. They're making it seem like I am the jerk for leaving her like that and not showing up at our wedding, but that's not true. I trusted what I saw. How is it my fault? To me, she sounds crazy. Update 1. So I have some news. Just when I thought I was down and out, in comes Riley, my ex's friend, like a total angel. Riley couldn't stand my ex's snobbish attitude anymore, and she couldn't just watch this mess go down. So she decided to drop some serious truth bombs on me. And let me tell you, she spilled the tea like a pro. Riley shows me these group chat messages where my ex spills all the beans about her messed up scheme. Turns out she didn't want to marry me anymore, but she also didn't want to be the villain. So she hatches this crazy plan to make everyone feel sorry for her. Can you believe the nerve of that girl? I got to admit, my heart sank, but at the same time, I felt weirdly relieved. All my gut instincts were spot on, and I wasn't just going crazy. Riley's like my truth-telling superhero. I owe Riley a truckload of gratitude for showing me the reality behind my ex's lies. But even with all this newfound clarity, the pain of betrayal is still lingering. It's a whole other thing to know the truth, but coming to terms with being played like a puppet by someone you loved hurts. But whatever she did was too much. I was being blamed for something that was not even my fault. I asked Riley if she was comfortable with me sharing this info online. She said she has no issue. And now I'm all set in my mind. Update 2. All right, Reddit fam. Things just went from 0 to 100 real quick. So I hit up social media like a boss, and boy, did I spill the tea. I made a public post that laid it all out, the lies, the cheating test nonsense, everything. It was like setting off fireworks on the internet, and it caught everyone's attention. I didn't hold back. I shared screenshots of those group chat messages where my ex talked about her elaborate scheme. I wanted the world to see the truth, and I wasn't about to sugarcoat it. With Riley's support, we let everyone know what went down. My ex couldn't hide in the shadows any longer. It was time for her to face the consequences of her actions. Now, I'll admit, I was nervous as heck when I hit that post button. It felt like I was stepping into the unknown, and I had no idea how people would react. But you know what? The response was overwhelming. People rallied behind me like I was some kind of online hero. They saw through my ex's lies and showed me an outpouring of support and love. It was like a virtual group hug, and I'll forever be grateful to those who stood by me. Sure, there were a few negative comments here and there, but haters are going to hate, right? I didn't let them get to me. Update 3. Hey there, Reddit crew. It's time for another update. So after I spilled the truth tea all over social media, my ex tried to pull a 180 and convince me to take the post down. I stood my ground like a rock, and I didn't budge an inch. I knew I had to stay true to myself and not let her manipulate me any further. So I told her to take a hike and blocked her from every corner of my life. And you know what's even better? My family and friends had my back in this too. They saw her true colors and decided she wasn't worth having any space in our lives. Boom, blocked. As for Riley, she's been a total MVP throughout this whole ordeal. Yeah, she might have some beef with my ex, but that's none of my business. I'm just grateful she had my back and helped me expose the truth. She's a real friend, no doubt about it. Now I can finally breathe easily. I've cut all the ties with the drama and toxicity that was weighing me down. And all those misunderstandings about me ditching my ex at the altar, they're all cleared up now. Thanks to that post, people finally know the truth. I can finally walk around with my head held high, knowing I did the right thing. So all good now. Ex blames me for ruining her image, but it's not my fault, right? NTA, and oh my God, you guys, this wedding drama is like something straight out of a reality show. First, he runs away from the altar, then he tries to play it off like it was some trust test. That's like next level crazy. But props to him for exposing the truth on social media. You go, boy. And Riley, what a legend for spilling the tea. The ex got what she deserved, getting blocked from everywhere. Drama queen alert. Anyway, glad he's living his best life now away from all that mess. High five, Reddit fam, for being there for him. NTA, man, this wedding mess is wild for real. Homeboy bounced from the wedding because his girl was cheating? Bro, I feel for him. That's some tough stuff. But then she tries to play him like a fool, talking about some trust test. Ain't nobody got time for that drama. Props to him for exposing her on social media. No one needs a girl like that in their life. Next story. Time frame. Mid-2021, near the end of COVID lockdown. The housing market in my area was nuts. Every decent house sold above the asking price in 2 to 4 days. My girlfriend and I, 38 female, 38 male, had been together for about 3 years. For most of that, we lived in a 2-bedroom cottage that girlfriend rents from her parents. Girlfriend got laid off when COVID hit, so I took over all the expenses for both of us, including paying rent to her parents, while she worked on her mental and physical health. She has depression, anxiety, and constant pain from an old injury. During this time, we both agreed we should get a bigger house together. We were also fighting a lot. She'd often demand I leave, even at night when I needed to sleep for work the next day or when I needed to work in the basement office. I hated being unwelcome in the place I paid for that I considered home. I then find what I think is the right house. It's got a huge master bedroom with a walk-in closet, 4 smaller bedrooms, small but fine for an office or kids' room, a yard that could be fenced in, good bones, and nothing seriously wrong other than some crappy paint colors. I'm interested. Girlfriend claims to be interested. I requested a showing the next day. Next day comes and we have a fight in the morning. I several times asked to set the fight aside so we can go, but girlfriend keeps fighting and refuses to get in the car. Eventually I say flat out, I want you to come. I don't want to fight, but we need to leave now or we'll be late. So are you coming or not? She says she's not coming. I see the house alone. I take a 15-minute long video showing every possible detail. My position is, if it's not good for my girlfriend, it's not good for me. This should be our house. I was using 100% of my own money to buy it, but with the goal of a family home we'd live in together. I get home, girlfriend refuses to watch the video. It's not my house, and we won't get it anyway, so why bother? I convinced her to watch it and asked for any sort of thoughts from her. Her answer is, this is a direct quote, I don't want to answer because I don't want to get my hopes up. I took that as a yes and told her I was going to put in an offer. She said something like, do what you want. It's not my money. So I bought the house. The girlfriend didn't get to see the inside of the house until after the contracts were signed. At this point, she reveals that she hates the house, hated it when she saw the video, but never said so because she never thought I'd actually buy the house without her endorsement. In her eyes, then and ever since, I'm the a-hole for buying the house without a thumbs up from her. And my agent is unprofessional for letting me buy it without my partner seeing it. In my eyes, I gave her every opportunity to weigh in. If she'd said she didn't like it at any point before the contract was signed, I never would have bought it. So AITA for buying the house without my girlfriend's explicit approval? Edit. A bit more about my girlfriend. This woman is, most of the time, an amazing woman, a supportive and loving partner and a wonderful soul. However, she's been through hell of a lot and it's left her with scars, both mental and physical. Among those scars are depression and anxiety, which generally she has under control, but occasionally these scars have her under their control. When that happens, things like the day of the showing happen. The logic goes out the window. Whatever is wrong is my fault because I'm the a-hole and I don't give a frick about anyone but myself because I'm selfish and I don't care about her, etc. I can argue until I'm blue in the face, but she just doesn't hear it. That's not a common thing, though. It's just unfortunate she had an anxiety episode the day of the showing. It's important to understand that this story is about my girlfriend at her worst, most stressed out and most anxiety driven. If she was like this all the time, I'd have left a long time ago. NTA, TLDR. Your girlfriend wants to break up and you two ought to go your separate ways. Your girlfriend is a walking red flag. First, it's not healthy to ask someone to leave shared housing, particularly if the person you're asking to leave is the one paying for said housing. Second, you offered your girlfriend umpteen opportunities to view and veto the purchase before you made it. She can't play these passive-aggressive games and then get upset when you move forward. The one who's passive-aggressive is always the a-hole. Your girlfriend is not acting like a normal person in a partnership. Rather, she's acting like someone who wants to break up but who is too scared to actually pull the trigger. The conversation you need to be having with her is whether she still wants to be together. NTA, are you sure your girlfriend is 38 and not 8? Sulking and pouting and not communicating when given a million chances to speak up, then comes out after you buy the place and says she hates it? Also, you being kicked out of a place you pay for from someone you've been with for that long is absurd. She isn't working and you actually have to think about when you sleep based on work, and she tells you to leave? You're paying for everything, and she feels entitled to have an opinion, then won't tell you her opinion until it's too late, and then sulks some more. Next story. My daughter, female 6, and I, female 23, live in a small house near the mountains with my grandparents, female 67 and male 70. So you can pretty much hear everything that's going on since all of the rooms are right next to each other. Even though we don't have neighbors for miles, my grandparents get angry if there's too much noise. Mind you, my grandpa is a heavy sleeper and my grandma sleeps with earplugs, and they always have a loud fan going in the background. Yesterday I promised to let my daughter do whatever she wanted as long as it didn't include a mess or any trouble. Of course, as long as she got all her chores done, and she did. So she wanted to do some Disney sing-alongs before her bedtime, so I agreed. I let her sing along to Let It Go on the TV, and even though I told her to keep it down multiple times, she got really loud when the climax hit. Unfortunately, it somehow woke up my grandparents, and they were pretty mad. I apologized to my grandparents and said it wouldn't happen again and that we'd stop with the sing-alongs, but instead of forgiving and forgetting, my grandma shouted, "We let you live here with us, yet you can't respect us when we're trying to sleep? No wonder your mom kicked you out." She warned me that if I kept making noise, she was going to make me pack my bags and leave, and that I'd take my daughter with me. I've caused trouble in the past because I've lived here ever since I was 17, but I've calmed down a lot since then. I honestly think she was over-exaggerating this situation because I was just letting my daughter sing and she happened to get too loud. But she still yelled at us both and threatened to throw us out of her house late at night. I started crying, and so did my daughter. My daughter begged my grandma to not make us leave, and she continued on about how she was ready to pack our bags herself if we didn't stop crying to my daughter. My grandpa tried to calm her down and even tried telling her that it wasn't that big of a deal. That's when she finally went back to bed. I immediately turned off the TV and my daughter and I went to bed. She was still crying. I know I probably shouldn't have let her sing any karaoke while they were sleeping, but I don't think my grandma should have handled it the way she did. My daughter is still upset about it today, and my grandma refuses to apologize. AITA? YTA. Sleeping is sleeping. You showed no respect. 9:30, your daughter should be asleep. If Granny woke up even with earplugs, it wasn't lightly singing. YTA at 6, she should be having quiet time starting at 7:30 to 8. She should be sleeping by 8:30. 9:30 at night is much too late for a sing-along. That's a daytime activity. When others are sleeping, you should be quiet. Next story. I study zoology in university, and as part of our degree, we're supposed to get a certain amount of field experience. Also, most good zoo animals internships demand it. So when our ornithology professor mentioned a volunteer opportunity with pelicans through some local group, I thought that sounded cool, and I signed up and was one of 2 students chosen. It was supposed to be us two and the professional helping to band young pelicans for research, where you slip a little band around their ankle that's unobtrusive to the birds but useful for tracking purposes. So the 3 of us got out to the island for a long day of pelican banding. The professional showed us how to do it and how to deal with an uncooperative pelican. And then I gave it a try and did it right, but then the 3rd pelican I tried it on vomited all over me as I was doing it. I let it go and started gagging and felt really nauseated. My whole lap and shirt were covered in it, and the smell was horrendous. I just sat there retching and trying to wipe it off, but to not much avail. After a few minutes, the professional said, "Hey, come on, we've got a lot more to do. I've been puked on 2 already. Nothing to worry about." But I said, "No, I'm not going to get puked on 10 more times today while doing this. I can't handle that." He got annoyed and said, "Really? You're going to leave 3 people's work with just 2 people for the day? We said it would be messy work." I thought, well, not this messy. So I just sort of sat there for a few hours while they worked and tried to distract myself from my vomit-stained shirt with my phone until it was time to leave. The trip back was hell too. They both stunk so bad I couldn't take it. Needless to say, my professor is mad at me, but I'm not sure what I'm supposed to do. I would have gotten sick myself if I kept at it, so I feel like I did the best I can. YTA, you were there being stinky all day anyway, but instead of being useful, you messed around on your phone. The whole point of field work is to show you what doing the job in the real world would look like. Sounds like you've found out that you are studying the wrong field and need to adjust your sails. Yup, if you were going to work with animals, you get bit, scratched, puked, and shat on. That is how it works. You work with animals who want to kill or kick the shit out of you for doing ouchy or scary things to them that may be saving their lives. And you work on teams that require you to work together at the animal's pace and comfort level, not yours. My partner was kicked in the face by a dog and lost a tooth. She was bit by a cat, and the ensuing infection sent her to the ER. That is just how it is, and those are the domestic ones who are used to being handled. YTA, change your attitude or change your major. You decide. Stay tuned for more stories from Argo Relationships.